So the question was asked, how did African Americans get to America? This is what a Native American asked us. And you can see right here, this person is mooring across the Gulf of Mexico. And you can see LaSalle right there. Where's LaSalle? LaSalle is in Chicago. It's also in the greater parts of Illinois. It's no secret. This history will be unveiled one day. People will see it's not only the Amazonians who look like this, but it's also African Americans who appear in this way as well. You can go to the Amazon and you can see chiefs who look just like African Americans. They're in charge of tribes, they're in charge of networks, nations, bands, clans, they're in charge. Look here, you can see Moors mooring across Lake Michigan. Look, here's Detroit right here. Everybody knows older men in Detroit. You can find many of them who go by the name Pianki. That is a Native American name. Up here, we always see Chippewas in Chicago. The people who look like buckwheat, they always look like they have the buck teeth and stuff like that. They're called Chippewas. They always roam in bands. So you have Second Fox. There's an image of Second Fox, this guy right here, Keokuk. There's also an image of him, an actual image of him from the 1800s. So like the history, it's no secret. Like people are wondering, people are acting like they don't know the real history. Like here's an actual map of the actual color of the Indians. And people are wondering, who are the Indians? Who are the Native Americans? You can see here the white people aren't dressed like Native Americans at all. They're dressed like missionaries. You know what I mean? Like they're dressed like pilgrims and immigrants. So how is this their land? How is this their culture? How is it that you can be an Asian and have 50% DNA of European and be called a Native American? Look, our people are all the way out west farming. You see what I mean? Like people have to come to their senses and realize that this history isn't going anywhere. It's people who still live like this to this day. You know what I mean? Like, and they get shamed for acting like, this is their culture or not their culture. They get shamed. This history isn't going to go anywhere. This history is not going to go anywhere. Here you have the Apache, Messalero, Comanche. You see what I mean? There was a lady, she couldn't have been no more than like 28. I think back in like 2012, she did her DNA ancestry. And she said she was Comanche. She knew she was Comanche. She was from Texas. She was an Octoroon. Here the Comanche are depicted as Negroes. Very dark brown skin. It's no secret. Everybody who you see in the West that has light complexion skin, they come from dark hued people. They come from Negroes. Tuscaloosa, Sequoia, Stone Mountain, Georgia. We all know about the MLB team, the Atlanta Braves. This is history right here. You got the Shawnee people, Chief Logan, the Erie. Here you have Negroes making a treaty with Quakers, the Penn Treaty. Here you have the Six Nations, the Iroquois. You have the Delaware. the Massasoit. This history isn't going anywhere. The Catawba, the Seminoles, the Timucua, the Appalachian, the Tunican, the Caddo. Like, look at this. They drape their hair. Some people say they use bear grease. You see what I mean? You know what we used to use in the early 2000s? We used to use Maurice grease in that orange can. We used to use Maurice grease. It was thicker than bear grease. And it used to be called pomade oil. You put it in your hair, you get your waves. Everybody on the south side Chicago had a can of Murray's grease. Here go your Nas Pierce. This is a Negro wearing a bonnet. So why are people saying that we weren't wearing bonnets? It's not our culture. There's many maps, and you'll see history as it's depicted. But a lot of the history is whitewashed. This is the only map you can find with Negroes who are depicted like this. This is the only map. And you can see here, they're not just wearing bonnets on their head, or they're not just wearing coyote hats, hyena hats. These men are doing construction. They're working. These are Negroes in the Blackfeet territory, in the Flathead territory. Here you have your TPs. So who's living in TPs and who's working? Could the men who are working be living in those TPs after they get done working? As they expand west? Yellowstone Park, Wind River. I've never lived so far out west. The only furthest I've been out west is Minnesota. That's the furthest I've been. I've walked through some of the trail areas. I've encountered wolves. I've encountered wild dogs. I've seen dogs hop fences, like large, tall, 6 feet fences. I've seen them jump those fences, like wild dogs. I don't even know what you call those type of dogs, but I've seen those wild dogs jump those fences over in the Minneapolis area. Like it's a lot of nature out here. Here you have the Superior Lakes. What are they doing? They're mooring. So you just can't say, because look, my DNA is like this. The first part of my DNA is they travel east across the Bering Straits. The second part of my DNA is they're coming from Cameroon into Nigeria, over into the coast of Ghana, into America. So you just can't say we were brought over here on ships as slaves. You can't say that. And the reason I say you can't say that is because these people been mooring for eons before Europeans were even thought of. They were still mooring. They were mooring before they were even thought of. Look at this. They're mooring across the Huron Lake, Lake Michigan. They're mooring across it. This man has a mohawk on, so you know he has distinction. He has style. He has one feather in his head. This is Pontiac. You see what I mean? Like this history, man, it's saying a lot. So he's wearing a cat hat, cat in the hat, cat in the hat. a cat hat near Lake Michigan, and this guy's wearing a mohawk, and this other guy right here is wearing a mohawk. He has like 3 feathers in his head, and this guy has 1 feather, and he has a cat hat, a hyena hat. You see what I mean? Like, we're all related. Like, to be dark skinned in America is like you're basically telling everybody that you're related to everybody. You know what I mean? Like, you have a cousin from Chickahominy, you have a cousin from Pamunkey, you have all your cousins are from Shawnee, you have all your cousins from Alabama, Upper Creek, Lower Creek, Choctaw, Chickasaw. This history, it expands. Then you right here, you have what? The Missouri River. You have the Mississippi River, the St. Lawrence River, the Arkansas River. So he asked that question, how did we get to America? The most artistry people in the world has to be Asians and African Americans. It has to be. The most artistry, the most inventive people in the world has to be Africans. Like, it has to be. Yavipe, Mohave, Yuma, Peyote. So this is where the lady says she's from, Peyote. And you know, Peyote just means pirate. So here's Peyote right here. So she's right next to a national park. Here's Death Valley. She's right next to Colorado River. And these are black folks. So she says she's Peyote, and look at this. She's basically saying she descends from black folks. That guy right here standing up, he looks like a black person to me. Miwok. I have this in my DNA. If you go on GD Match and you do your ancestry, you'll find out if you're African American, you have Miwok DNA. Like, all of these forest reserves, like, we're supposed to be taking care of this stuff. All of these forest reserves. Like, this stuff needs to be taken care of. So you have immigrants coming to America, a couple generations removed, and they're enjoying hiking. Okay, they're enjoying artistry. They're enjoying farming. They're enjoying the food. They're enjoying the scenery. They're enjoying all of it. I saw an African lady from Ghana. She was on TikTok. She was going on a hiking trail in Colorado. I said, wow, look how far we've come. Like, they're enjoying it. They're enjoying our land. Like, look at this, man. Like, we have, like, you go to, like, the Denver area. You go to Oregon. They go Oregon trails right here. You go to Wyoming, Utah. You're going to see a lot of great monuments. And they're all well preserved. Public lands. Nevada. I mean, you look at these lands, it look like we've never lived on them because we've been in the southeast so long. We've been in the south and the southeast so long. We really don't have like a huge population in the southwest where they do like corn farming, corn nursery. We haven't been that far out like in generations, it seems like. Like it's so much untapped nature there. Seattle. You see what I mean? Red Cloud. I remember when I was a kid and I would be like 10 years old, 11 years old, walking around Chicago by myself. And I would look up in the sky at night and I would see like purple clouds and a lot of stars over the project buildings. I would see like a bunch of stars. Like you don't see purple skies and a bunch of stars no more like during the summer. You don't see it. Like where I'm at, you don't see it. Like in Chicago, you didn't need street lights. You didn't need anything. Like the sky would just light up. I feel like Chicago always had their special privileges. Like for some reason, like Chicago was always well taken care of by the government. The people always got what they wanted. You know what I mean? Like we always got what we wanted. Like there's so many trails. Here's Chicago right here. There's so many trails in Chicago. Like you travel up, you go a little bit up north, you're gonna find a lot of trails. Especially by like Lake Michigan. Like you can take Chicago, you can take the part of Chicago right here, the lake. You can take it right across into Southwest Michigan, into Southeast Michigan, Detroit. You can take it right across. You see what I mean? You can go all the way up across and land right down here into Detroit if you wanted to. There's people probably who still take those routes today. Like you tell somebody this history and you say we were mooring across the lake, they're gonna be like, when and where? And how can we do that now? Like we're not doing that today. Like we used to do that like back in the 16, 15, 1400s. We were doing that. Before colonization, and we lost our nature. We lost who we were. We lost the fact that we knew who we were. We were doing this. So no one could just come up to you and say, well, you're not indigenous. You're not aboriginal. You're not this, you're not that. The fact that I'm doing it just showing you that I'm living the proof. And like I was saying, like I said, not only were we skilled at archery, because to this day we love guns. Black people love guns. We're skilled at archery. We're skilled at farming because we love to grow marijuana. We're skilled at farming. And like we're skilled at a lot of different things. We love cars. We love the Chevy automobiles. We love cars. So like to say that we weren't mooring, like how do you bring somebody over here on a ship and say, here, it goes a car, you'll love it. They'll be trying to find out, how can I get back to the land you just took me from? Because everything I know is from there. And then not only that, it would be people over here telling you not to bring them over here. Unless they were trying to get in on the business of slavery. And like, what is slavery? You know what I mean? Like slavery and peonage. Two different things. We lost our empire due to peonage, not slavery. Slavery denotes an ethnicity. Slavery would be like taking a bunch of Slavs and telling them, here, you only can do this and you can't do that. Here, what do they call them? The black Christian codes. You can't get married after this age. You can't have this many children. You're not welcome on this part of the land. And like, people are excited about Donald Trump coming into office and saying, we're going to remove all the immigrants. That's going to backfire, I think. Because like, he's not going to tell the white people that they have to leave. He's only going to tell the illegal Mexicans that's here that they have to leave. Like, what's wrong with them being here? They're Americans. They're Central Americans. What's the issue? The people who are here illegal is the white people. They've been here how many generations usurping off your land? How many generations have Europeans been here? They've been here since, what, the silent generation. That's how long they've been here. Like, how do you win a war and tell the combatants that they can live on the land and say you still won the war? I mean, these people just been like, wherever, every city you go to in America where you see black folks, in the suburbs is going to be white folks living. So it's like, how did they get that close to us? It's the same way in Detroit. You go to Royal Oak, Michigan, white people everywhere. You go to Livonia, Michigan, white people everywhere. You go to Sterling Heights, Michigan, white folks everywhere. In Chicago, you go to Indiana, white folks everywhere. Naperville, Aurora, Illinois, white folks everywhere. You see what I'm saying? So like, how are you going to get rid of the fact that wherever you go in your town, in your city, there's white folks everywhere? And they just got here during the silent generation, during the world wars, escaping persecution. So they got here, they took land that you were developing, that you were keeping for yourselves, and they took over those lands. They paid you whatever little money they had. You went to the cities and bought land, couldn't maintain the land, lost it in the county, lost it due to the county because they became the judges. You lost all of it. Now they don't not only have the land that they bought from you, but they have the land that you know what I'm saying, that the land that you sold. So like, I'm not concerned about Mexicans going home. Because at the end of the day, if you want to be technical about it, they have a birthright in Central America. So technically they're Americans. Europeans aren't Americans. So like, how are you going to deal with that? How are you going to deal with the fact that they're here and they haven't went anywhere? They're claiming Cherokee now. They're the president of the Cherokee Nation now. White folks are. They have, what do you call that little thing? The thing that you hang over your bed and say good luck will come tomorrow. I forgot what you call it, but they have that little chime thing hanging over that bed. They have that now. It's no longer a part of your culture now. They took it. They're claiming to be Native Americans now. This was your history at one point in time. You knew all your cousins in South America. You knew all your cousins in Central America. Now you don't know your cousin a county over, a block over. You don't know who you are now. You a ravaging wolf. You're violent towards everybody who have 2 feet. You're untrustworthy now. No one can trust you. You don't trust yourself. Look at the backdrop right here. Agriculture everywhere. These could be cornfields, for all I know. You can use corn as fuel. You can use corn as digestibles. I mean, forget it, man. Like we forgot who we were, like completely. How many people have this map hanging up in their rooms? I have this map hanging up in my room. I bought the map and I hung it up. We forgot who we were. I had a dream one day, and I really think this is true, though. I really think this is true. My grandfather, he was with his family in South Carolina, and they would dress like bushmen. And the reporter came to their lands because they used to live on PD Island. And the reporter was reporting on something, and they walked up and hit him with an arrow. This footage was playing over the top of my head like a hologram while I was sleeping, and I thought it was real. I woke up disturbed, and I was just thinking to myself, like, this has to be real. My grandfather was into fishing. He loved to fish on Lake Michigan. He loved it. He would get fish from Lake Michigan and come home, and he would drive over here to my mom's house, and he would give her the fish to cook and clean. The clean and cook. He would give her the fish. The fish would still be jumping in a bucket. Like, this history again, it's gonna be here. This history is gonna be here. No one's gonna forget it. No one's gonna stop saying they're African. No one's gonna stop saying they're American Indian. No one's gonna stop saying that they're Native. People are gonna remember this. We just got out of Native American Heritage Month. No one really knew it was Native American Heritage Month. No one really celebrated it. How many of us celebrated it? Like, look what they got painted on the side of the canoe. Like each clan of a band could have something painted on the side of their canoe to let you know what they're supposed to be doing at that time and where they're from. These look like Seminoles. Because look at the hair. It's black, red, and yellow. He has a little blue and white in his. These could be Seminoles because hers got, what, red and white. And you know about these people right here, they have the ropes around their neck, all the beads and stuff. Those are Seminoles. Seminoles are basically Floridians. Seminoles all over Florida. You might as well say Haitians are Seminoles. After 1804, you might as well say that. You see what I'm saying? Like this history, man, it's going to be around, and people are going to be able to learn from it generation after generation. Like these maps, like you should get them because like you never know how long they'll be around. You never know like how long these maps will just be in existence. They might have a outing print one day where the publication just won't exist anymore. The the disc or something where it holds this art may have been damaged or something like that. You just never know. Like it's important to get this type of stuff and to preserve it. But that's all I want to say in this video was that it's interesting that he asked that. He said, "Where did black people come from?" And this wasn't the first time someone asked us like, "Where did he come from?" Another guy asked us like, "Where did black people come from? Did they land on Earth on spaceships?" That's what he asked. Like it's interesting. Like it's true. Black people are the oldest people here. Like, why would you want to mix with somebody and destroy that? You the oldest people on earth and you want to mix with people to destroy that gene? You should be trying to find another black person and to strengthen your gene. To create another offspring who looks like you and the person you're mating with. I don't understand people at all. I would never in my lifetime mix with someone who just doesn't look like me. I think people take mating rituals kind of off veer. Like people mate because they have perceptions that's like miscued. Like people mate out of recreation. Like people do things because they're horny. Like people don't do things because they have to do it in order just to stay alive. People do things because they're horny. That's what I think it is. They go for the low hanging fruit. Cause let's face it, like if you live in a county somewhere and you only see white people all the time and you want to leave the neighborhood that your grandparents came from, like say a big city like Detroit, they left that city. They moved to the suburbs. Now you're around all these white people. You're not going to go back to the city. You're going to stay in the suburbs. You're going to find a white woman to have children with. A lot of black people do that. They don't go back to the city. They don't go back to the city to build it up. They stay right where they are and be comfortable and have children with a white woman or a white man. They do this because they're horny. They don't do things out of survival. I asked the lady, I said, like, why did you have a mixed child? She was like, well, because the man, he treated me good. And all I could think was that, okay, so if anybody just says nice words to you, you're going to fall for that. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, it had to be a catch to it. Like, no one is just going to go with somebody and mate with them because they make you feel good. Like, I think it was a question she didn't want to answer, but it's like, you're African. Why would you come to America and have children with a white man? Like you could have stayed in Africa and had them come there. Like our politics in America is so destroyed. And I have to be outspoken because like it's true. Our politics is crazy right now. Everybody is like trying to aim for birthright citizenship. So they can have a child by anyone who's going to grow up and say, I'm American. No matter the ethnicity, they're going to be able to say they're American. Again, I'm not worried about Mexicans being here. They're our brothers. They're our sisters. I'm not worried about them. What I'm worried about is Europeans being here for another generation mixing into our populations. Mexicans too much, they stay to themselves. They don't go out their way to run for politics in our community. They don't go out their way to be around us. They don't do all of that. Like when we were in Chicago, the Mexicans, they were in Little Village. They went back of the yards. They were by Garfield Park. And they did their own little thing. Like they knew who their politicians was. They didn't come to our community saying they were going to run for politician. They stayed where they were. And they spoke Spanish. They weren't trying to learn English. You see what I'm saying? Like we just like we accept everybody to be around us, man. It's like somebody come around us, we want to like teach them how we do this, we want to teach them how we do that. Like I'm surprised that Mexicans aren't wearing braids. You see what I'm saying? I'm surprised they're not wearing braids by now. Like, cause black women in California are having babies by them like crazy. And it's not the Belize, not them. It's foundational black Americans. They're having babies by them. It's not Belizeans. Like, look at this. This is my grandmother's last name, Hogan. I knew she was Navajo when I sang her last name. It's spelled a little different than that, but it's Hogan. I knew she was Navajo when I saw that when I saw it spelled that way. A Hogan is just a small home. It's a small home basically. It's like a mud house, a log house. That's basically what it is. And she wore her hair in an afro. She didn't wear braids. She wore her hair in an afro. This man, you got a mountain named after a French counterpart. And you got Asian letters right there. Katane. So what's the relationship between the Japanese and the French? Yeah, this is black sailors. We've been serving. And I think like we're going to get back to a point where we're living like this again. Like I really think that because like as long as we're in the Air Force, as long as we're in the Army, we're in the Navy, we're going to protect the lands. And like people can't be bunched on top of each other all the time. Like they have to spread out. They have to create tribes. They have to create legalities and laws where people can lawfully abide by around campfires. Like basic government. We're going to have to go back to basic governments. Like leaving a city 20 people at a time in a caravan, going to like Denver and getting land allotments. Like a lady, she was trying to sell me some land in Denver. Like little patches of land, right? Little land allotments. Like on undeveloped land. Land that you can just put a TP out there You know what I'm saying? Have a little camping spirit. Like that's pretty much all you can do with that type of land right now because it's undeveloped. You know what I'm saying? Like you can just ride down to Denver one day, maybe Roy, Colorado, and just buy a little patch of land from the county. Roll out your TP, roll out your little peace pipes. You know what I'm saying? Get your logs, take your logs out the van, put the logs on a part of the land where you can start a fire at. You know, be next to a little stream of water. Let your kids play under the trees, like right here. Let your kids play under the trees. That's what we're gonna have to get back to doing. We can't be on streets and because streets are reserves. We can't be on streets 365 days out the year. We can't be doing that. We got to get back to the spirit of being near creeks and being near forest reserves. We can't have kids playing on concrete 365 days out the year. So, like, what will the federal government do? What will they do? Will they strengthen our rights? Will they protect them? Or will they allow Europeans to continue to be here? Because those treaties, look, the Moroccan treaty, it has to be resigned, I think, in like 10 more years or something like that. It has to be resigned. So, like, will Morris even bring that up? Will they even remember to bring that up? Will Cujo L still be around teaching that Morris need to renege the treaty? Will he still be around teaching that? Look at the people on this map. All you see is Negroes. So who put this map together? Where did they get it from? Well, we know Louis Jefferson did, but like, where did she get this information from? How did she fill in the color on it? What did she see that made her think like all the people looked like unison? This person has a slender face. This person has a wider face. Sue, Kyrie Irving's mother. She's Sue. This is how the original Sue looked. Great peace, Yakoki.